Hello everyone and welcome to this pick a card reading video. In this video, we will be looking at what you can expect for this autumn or fall of 2025. This is specifically for 2025, although if you are watching this from a different time period, if you still feel drawn to any of the stacks, you can certainly give it a listen. And yeah, there's nothing else to it except for that, I guess, so let's just start here. And here is stack 1A. Stack 2B, stack 3C, stack 4D. You can pause if you'd like and if you need some more time to figure out which stack you are most drawn to. If you are not drawn to any of the stacks, that's completely fine. This just might not be the pick a card reading video for you, but I have plenty of other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. As a reminder, everything I talk about and discuss in this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. Alright, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The cards pulled here are Sage or King of Pentacles upright, Sage of Swords in reverse, Sage of Wands or King of Wands upright. Yes, 3 kings in a row. And then Man or Knight of Cups in reverse, the Star upright, and the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. And then we have Guardian, a lost loved one watches over you. Number 14, debilitated, and keyword is discomfort, and then heavenly signs. For those last two oracle cards, I will read in the guidebook later on. I also have two separate oracle cards related to a question and answer format that we will get to at the end of this reading. But this, if you chose this pile, there's a lot of strong energy with this. I mean, we have a bunch of sage energy, a bunch of king energy, so that's major, very major. And then the star, like, come on, get out of here. Seriously though, it seems like, I do have to say with the Guardian, a lost loved one watches over you, I think. Oh my gosh, how do I even word this? There's so many messages coming through for me right now. But it feels like you're being divinely guided to take action. But I feel like for this fall and autumn, it's good to trust your instincts and not to trust logic too much. I know we have like the Sage or King of Pentacles as an upright, so you would maybe be like, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good time for chasing after your dreams. And with the King of Wands being here, it's a time to take action now. A lot of you have probably already planned, or maybe, you know what? King of Swords in reverse. Let me say this. Some of you maybe have already been planning out things you would like to happen, even if it's like a trip, right? But I feel like there's these goals or this one major goal that you have in mind that you've been working really hard toward, and you just haven't taken enough action yet, or you just haven't started yet. And so Spirit is saying, you'll never be fully. There's so many messages coming in. You will never be fully ready for this thing to happen. You will never be fully ready. And I think a lot of you could be very perfectionistic. Like, oh, I need to be at this point in my life in order for this thing to happen. Or I need to look this certain way in order to be attractive and like have somebody pursue me. You know, like that kind of thinking. You feel like you maybe need to be perfect or that you need to check all these boxes in order to start. This could even be like a passion project that you have or like a side gig or a hobby even, but it feels like with debilitated discomfort, you have, oh, and Guardian and Heavenly Signs. Oh my god, I love that. So you've probably been getting so many signs that will help continue to guide you along the way. Maybe you've kind of been ignoring them or just saying that they are like random, but this is not random. Any heavenly signs you're getting right now, like spirit and specifically your ancestors and your lost loved ones, from the earthly realm, they are now on the other side and they're trying to help guide you on the path to take. And I think a lot of your guides or a lot of your passed on loved ones, I wonder if this is something you've been really wanting to have happen for a long time. So much so that a passed on loved one, even before they passed, maybe already knew about this happening, or you've just been talking about it so long that your passed on loved ones are like, I like already know the ins and outs of all this, and I'm not even like there physically. It just feels like there's a lot of anticipation built around this, which is why I think there's such an ideal outcome that you have for this, and an ideal way that you want for your goal to play out or your manifestation to play out. But Spirit is saying you will never be 100% fully ready. Nine of Pentacles in reverse and the Knight of Cups in reverse tells me that this situation, this manifestation, this goal that you have in mind will never meet your expectations. You have such high expectations, and you have so many layers, I think, added to this, or just so much pressure for some reason. It just feels like this thing matters so much to you, so you want it to be perfect. Spirit is saying it will never be perfect. You will never be in the perfect mindset. You will never have the perfect timing. That this thing is meant for you either way. So there's no perfect time because you also just put so much emphasis and pressure on the very specifics. So Spirit wants you to be for autumn 2025 less specific in your goals, in your dreams, and in your manifestations. They want for you to be more open-minded. With discomfort being here, with debilitated, Spirit is saying you really need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone in order to, and maybe that is just taking the first step, taking the actionable step of commitment or putting yourself out there, starting something. Spirit saying the time is now. Okay. The time is whenever you just start. So now would be advisable because Spirit's saying, like, King of Pentacles, you've already planned things out. You've already worked hard. You've already like decided how you want things to play out. So now let Spirit work alongside you and be open-minded. So if things don't pan out the way you were expecting, we don't want that Sage of Swords energy in reverse where you feel like you're out of control. I feel like a lot of you are trying to control things right now. So Spirit wants you to be more lenient. And if you're feeling like things aren't happening a certain way, pay attention to these heavenly signs. Because maybe you're being guided slightly in a different direction. Or maybe on the same course, but going over some bumps. But those bumps actually turn into mountains of success. Those bumps turn into hills that once you climb to the top, you're like, oh, actually, this is better this way, Even if you have to put in more effort or even if you have to change things around, that's fine. Spirit is saying, allow that to happen. Don't be so strict. Don't be so stubborn. And be more open-minded. We have the star here, upright, which is beautiful. It's about opportunities being presented to you. But you can't have these being presented to you if you're so set on how you want things to play out and if you don't push yourself outside of your comfort zone. There's just something like, I feel a lot of you with your planning, you're also uh maybe have boundaries about what you are and are not willing to do, and Spirit is saying think about that again because there's something that you may not want to do right now during this time in which you won't enjoy the process and maybe you don't even agree with like the for some reason I want to say like not even just the logistics but the morality behind this. That may sound really weird, but some of you maybe are like, I would never do this because it goes against my morals. Spirit is saying question your morals a bit right now. Sage of Swords in reverse. Spirit doesn't want you to be stagnant. They don't want for you to be stuck in a certain mindset or in a certain belief. There may be something that ends up getting you to change your mind only if you're open-minded. Really, there's a big key emphasis on being open-minded, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Spirit is saying that by doing this, you actually open up more abundant opportunities. The star will happen for you. And then you'll be a lot less worried too because you'll be a lot less strict on yourself. So if things don't go according to plan, you'll be less worried if you start allowing things to unfold in a way that it doesn't have to be so structured. Do you get what I'm saying? So if something ends up taking you in a slightly different direction, don't think that it has to be a bad thing. There's likely to be things that happen during this time period where over these next few months you will change your mind on something, but that will cause a shift in the opportunities, in the abundance that are waiting for you. It's almost like I see a wall where like these things are waiting for you on the other side of this wall. And it's when you let your guard down, you also let this wall down. For some reason, I feel like that's important too. Like being vulnerable could be very important for a lot of you right now as well. Very interesting. But with the King of Wands upright, this feels like unknown or uncharted territory where oh, I just had it. What was I gonna say? It's almost it's almost like spirit wants me to say don't say too much. Because if a lot of you are expecting, again, the expectation, if a lot of you are expecting a certain thing to happen or you're so dead set on something, spirit is saying that it's actually better for you to not try to control the outcome and to be too specific about the outcome. Like if you're starting anything new, during this time period, whether it's a relationship, a career, switching majors, starting college, like spirit wants for you to just be intuitively guided in the moment because you've done enough planning. You know enough about yourself. So now as time goes on, you know about the things for the most part that you for sure will not accept and that you will accept. But then you can also ask yourself questions of how do I want to phrase this? It's not just about what you can accept and what you won't accept, it's also about I just keep getting this emphasis on something that you view as negative won't actually be negative. Like for some of you, if it's added time for something, spending more time on something as opposed to doing any shortcuts, Spirit is saying with the King of Swords in reverse, it's not a time of shortcuts. It's a time of also, with that Sage of Wands, the King of Wands, there needs to be spontaneity in this. So things that you weren't expecting and things that you weren't considering or things that you previously have put off, now is a time to actually consider incorporating different elements into your life, especially in a way that there really is a balance of predictability and unpredictability. So think about the things unpredictably that happen. Think about the things that are outside of your control and don't be put off by those things happening. Try to work alongside spirit and think if there's any messaging in that of spirit trying to nudge you in a certain direction, trying to give you certain messaging of, oh, do this. Oh, talk to this person. Say this to this person specifically. I think you're getting a lot of signs right now and you will continue to and or you will continue to as autumn unfolds. It feels like spirit will like literally like I'm seeing somebody walking down a path and then they are going down a different path because there are a bunch of like blue butterflies or a bunch of like blackbird feathers, right? So let the signs lead you. And that can be scary for those of you who are controlling of the situation or of the potential outcome. But Spirit is saying to trust in the signs you are getting. Don't poo-poo them. Don't think that they are just random. Trust your intuition, of course, but I think some of you may be blocked right now just because it's like you want this thing to happen so bad, and I completely understand. I definitely get that, and you've also worked so hard to get to this point in your life. But Spirit is saying that there are signs they are sending you to help get you out of your own way, to get you not so fuzzy-brained and dead set on a potential outcome. They're sending you signs, and you're not going to be going off track, you're actually going to be on track. It seems like things will be happening at it's very interesting because there is the Sage of Pentacles and the King of Wands, both of them being upright. Sage of Swords in reverse makes me think that things won't happen. I know I said that there's no perfect time except for that it is the perfect time or whatever and the time is now. Things won't happen timing wise in a like quote unquote correct manner. It seems like things will happen like sporadically all at once and then there will be a lull. And Spirit is saying to trust that, and during those lull periods, try to think of how you can tap into your creative decision-making skills or any of your creativity. It's a time of reflection during those lulls and of also rest. Don't only just work, 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 right? Also have those periods of rest. I feel like rejuvenating yourself and your energy will be very important during this time so that when there are those bursts, you won't be drained and you'll be able to think clearly. And that means the logical mind as well as the intuitive mind. You will be able to think and feel clearly if something is meant for you, if something is right for you. So having those breaks and those periods of rest will be very beneficial and crucial for you. So the lulls in time during this season of a lot of things happening at once and then not much. A lot of things and then not much. And during those lull periods too, Spirit is working on the other side and making sure that things are working in your favor. But Spirit is saying if you don't take this time to rest, you try to push it, then you're going to miss the opportunities that become presented to you, or you will miss the signs and the messaging. Because for some of you, I think you want a lot of answers right now of like yes and no questions. Like you may ask, Spirit, is this okay? Or Spirit, is this the right thing? Spirit doesn't want you to ask too many questions, by the way. That's Sage of Swords in reverse. They want for you to go with the flow a bit more because you've already planted the seeds. You've already planted the seeds. So now go where Spirit leads you. The star. There's so many opportunities on the other side of this wall. Expect the unexpected, but also me saying that, I remember to say, like, don't expect much at all. It's also a good time where if you don't talk much to your guides or to your passed on loved ones, you should do this. Even if it's like you don't have many passed on loved ones, like that have passed. Like, okay, even if you don't have many loved ones who have passed, then communicate with your ancestors. I think you have a very strong bond and connection with your ancestors. Some of you honestly may have like witch's blood in you, like what is it from people in Romania or certain parts of Europe, right? Like there's considered like the quote unquote witch's blood. Some of y'all may even have that because I feel like you're very in tune with spirit. And I think that's why a lot of you already know the path you're meant to take. Generally speaking, you've already planted the seeds. I think a lot of you have been intuitively guided to take certain steps already and to also lay out the groundwork, lay out certain steps, mini goals, large goals, manifestations. A lot of you have already tapped into all this because of not only you knowing yourself, but you knowing what spirit knows is best for you. You're very connected to spirit. And even without connecting to the signs, I think a lot of you receive the messaging through just like random ideas that pop into your head. And I think a lot of you could testify that they feel intuitively placed within your mind and or your mind's eye. So then you start working hard, planting those seeds. You start putting in work to get to where you want to be. And I understand there's a lot of anticipation, but Spirit is saying there's nothing wrong with that. Um, and so I know it said there's a lot of like sporadic moments and then there will be lulls. With that, it evens out the timing, so things are, like, evenly paced. Nothing happening too quickly, too slowly, you're right on track and on time. It's just that the timing will be all over the place. So you have to be ready for when things happen, so if there is a random, um, thing that pops up, don't be like, "Well, it doesn't fall in line with my schedule." Spirit is literally saying that things will happen outside of your plans, outside of your schedule. Now you have to consider that they may be something to incorporate into your goals or manifestations. Okay? And hmm, I feel like there's something about this sage or king energy I have to talk about 1 second. I feel like a lot of you are also very strong leaders. I don't really get this. It's interesting though. I don't get the sense that you would lead a bunch of people. I feel like you're just very independent. You do a lot of things for yourself and you rely on yourself. And I think that's actually what gets you furthest. But again, if you need to like rely on other people, Spirit is saying don't be stubborn. Like if you need help or if you need to contact people, Spirit wants to remind you with this King of Swords in reverse that you don't know it all. So there's always more to learn. King of Pentacles upright, always more to learn. There's always more to learn culturally, King of Wands upright. There's always more to learn that's outside of your expertise that you can incorporate into what you're doing. That's the thing too. You'll encounter a lot of experiences during this season that you may think are unrelated to your life or your goals, your visions, your dreams, your passions, manifestations, all that, right? But Spirit is saying that taking the path less traveled or doing something that other people aren't willing to do or there's just a lot of untapped potential there. Doing things outside of your comfort zone, but doing things that you wouldn't think you would typically do or that you wouldn't think would help you, they actually will. Let's say, for example, especially if it has that adventurous element and the star, opportunities. Taking on certain opportunities will open up other doors of opportunities, is really what I'm seeing. Like opening one door, and then there's a bunch of other doors that you can continue to explore. It's a time of exploration because remember that you don't know everything. You don't have all the knowledge and the resources that you actually have right now, they actually need for your manifestation or your goal to happen. There's like more that you actually need to learn. Let's say, for example, let me think of something. For some reason, I want to talk about college stuff. Let's say, for example, you are on the path to do a certain career, right? And you keep working hard toward that goal. You're putting in effort and time, you're doing work, you're doing even maybe a mentorship program. But let's say like at your college, you take a night class once a week and it's something completely unrelated to your major. And then as you start doing that, it actually helps you to attain knowledge that even if you thought that class was irrelevant before, now you find it relevant for the knowledge you seek in your goal, dream, or manifestation. Okay. Like, let's say you're studying to be a doctor, right? But then let's say you're taking a women's studies class at night once a week, and that could help you when you become a doctor, the knowledge that you attain through that class. You can understand maybe how in the medical profession women are overlooked for their pain, things like that. That's just an example. So there's something you're overlooking that I think you believe to be unnecessary or unhelpful for you right now. But if you really open your eyes, there's a lot to learn out there. It's also very like philosopher Sagittarius energy right now, where you know how people also say the more you know, the less you know? A lot of you know a lot, but I think you will continue to grow and learn. And even though it may seem like things are irrelevant, it will actually help you to explore and to learn more. And I think actually right now, the more you learn, even if you're just like at home reading a bunch of like nonfiction, learning a lot about historical events, I think will help you right now as well, or even about your family ancestry, which would be helpful with Guardian as well. So keep an eye out for that. But I think there's a lot of connecting pieces that you just haven't connected the dots yet, but they're waiting to be laid out. So there's a lot of things that overlap or that will overlap when you learn information. It's like, oh, that connects to this, but also to this. And then like, and this, and all these connecting pieces will like lay out like a map I'm seeing. I also think it's a good time to travel right now, but I will say there just is that sense of like learning, like reading a lot in textbooks or other nonfiction books, will be very helpful. I think that would be better than actually like even going to an expert in person. For some reason, you taking notes, reading at home or at a library, wherever, I think that would be helpful. Also, going to a thrift store right now, and if you're drawn to any books there, like, even if you don't know what the title is, if you just feel drawn to a certain area, you take out a book and you're like, I'm drawn to this, I don't know why, don't know how it relates to my life, but then you get it and you read it. Specifically something historical or nonfiction, right? And you read it and you're like, oh my god, that actually helped me access this other knowledge. There's a very key emphasis on learning for this time period and how that will help you expand your mind and expand your goals, but not again, the balance of expanding your goals, but also honing in on your goals, where things make a lot more sense. You'll know a lot more which steps to take, and you'll be a lot more clear in your thinking. I still get a sense though that things won't turn out the way like by the end of the season, your goals I think will shift or they won't be laid out in a certain way. Nine of Pentacles in reverse and the Knight of Cups in reverse. Things won't turn out the way you originally intended or expected, even if you've had this goal set to be a certain way for so long, or this manifestation. After really learning and growing during this time period, attaining knowledge, you'll realize that something either isn't meant for you or that just like a goal or a manifestation is meant to change. That isn't a bad thing. We do still have the star here. So remember that if your goals are changing, that isn't a bad thing. It's just you evolving and then your goals and manifestations evolving with your evolution. And really, as if you realize that your goals are evolving and changing and shifting, you'll realize that the previous goal, it's good that it didn't happen in that way because it wasn't meant for you. This goal is the way it's laid out by the end of this season or this time period will make a lot more sense for you. It will align more with you or your beliefs or your scheduling, right? So with being open-minded and paying attention to the signs that spirit is sending you, you'll be able to tap into these sorts of messages from spirit, and you'll be a lot less caught off guard when you change any goals or change any aspects of it. Or even those steps leading those mini goals leading up to your main goal or manifestation, like you'll realize, hey, I'm changing this mini goal, which will change the next one and the next one. So being open-minded on this path is great because the star's here. So either way, any shifting goals align best with you. There's absolutely no need to worry. And I just feel like I have to emphasize how much your ancestors and spirit guides and passed on loved ones are really looking out for you, and they really also want for you to. It's a time of self-discovery as well, right? A lot of our goals are tied to self-discovery if you really think about it. So spirit is saying to be open to yourself, and spirit on the other side is really loving watching you unfold. So for this time period, as you continue to grow and expand your mind and like reveal new parts of yourself to yourself, new hobbies, new interests, anything. Spirit on the other side is very happy to watch this evolution. They love to witness it and they love you becoming more of who you are and who you're meant to be. I don't see it being a time of much socialization unless if it relates to your goals, right? I see you socializing more with spirit actually, but I see this still being so like being a time of independence, but in a way that's exciting where you don't feel alone because you should feel intuitively guided. You should feel like spirit is watching over you. And there's just so much anticipation. So things are going to happen, just not for some of you. Also, I gotta say, it's not going to happen right now because things are still shifting and growing and changing and evolving as you are. But that's not bad. Remember, everything is happening at a very steady, like moderate pace, but in a good way. So don't rush this process. Let's go into the guidebook and see what it says in here. We have debilitated discomfort. If you put a well-organized city dweller deep in the wild woods, they'd be accidentally debilitated, out of their element and pushed to live up to their potential. They may be uncomfortable, but the situation offers a chance to stretch further and develop their soul. The same goes for a planet in a sign or placement that's awkward with its nature. For example, Mercury is the least mercurial when it is in Pisces, opposite the sign Virgo, which it rules. Here, Mercury can bestow a great mind, but in an intuitive, integrated, imaginative way, not a mind to escape in wait, what? Not a mind to escape in purely intellectual pursuits. Action. This time you are the invaluable sidekick. This is not your game, but you have a lot to contribute nonetheless. And the long-term benefits will be worth your efforts. Yeah, a lot more work to be done before things like fully fledge out for your desired outcome. Learn and listen rather than assert yourself and your opinions. Yes, learn. Learning, all the learning right now. Use your strength and leadership skills. Oh my gosh. Leadership. Okay. Sorry. Use your strength and leadership skills to support and center another person or project. Pass the ball to someone who is in position to run with it. Back up a leader, do the work behind the scenes, and bolster the team. Also, page number 44. 44 will be an important number for you all, I think. Also, at 14 debilitated, so 4s in general could be important for you. If you're not ready to do this work, you can pass that ball and leave the field, but consider redefining your idea of success. Stay here and you can grow needed skills, expand your repertoire and contacts, and build up trust among others who can help you in the future. Everything you learn, all the contacts you make, prepare you for when it is your turn. Challenge. Whether you're an artist among the engineers or a linebacker among the ballerinas, you may struggle to apply your talents in this situation. In these moments, it's easy to slip into self-pity and self-doubt. Yeah, don't doubt yourself right now, y'all. gift. You are being challenged to grow in ways you can't predict. You are being asked to diversify, stretch, and strengthen your weak muscles. Only you can decide if it's time to take that challenge, but this experience also encourages you to love yourself in the quiet moments and to appreciate what you bring to the table even when nobody else notices. That's the thing too. There's a lot of background stuff going on right now, but you still will shine. The star's here. You will shine. It just might not be fully right now. Let's go to heavenly signs in here. So it says, have you been seeing a lot of butterflies lately, dear one? This card comes to you as one of many signs you're receiving from above to let you know that you're loved and watched over. Heaven frequently dispatches butterflies to signal that a passed on loved one is happy and sending you encouragement. Additional signs may include birds, feathers, and rainbows, or something else in nature. Or your signs might involve coins, music, or other human-made items. My mom sees dimes a lot. You're asked to notice and trust these signs so that you'll feel heaven's presence in your daily life. When you know that you're watched over and loved, you feel safer and more secure following the path of your dreams. Yes, so you shouldn't hopefully feel scared about the future or about when things will happen. You're on the right path. Additional meanings: an anniversary or birthday, answered prayers, achieving big dreams, one little step at a time. Yes! Yes! Exactly. Okay. What I'm going to do now is, let me just get these cards out of the way. But we have two different angel answers, oracle cards. So I want for you to look at this card, and I want for you to think of a question, even if it's different from the question that you maybe would have originally thought. Look at this card, and you should hopefully think of a question that intuitively is linked to the answer of this card. And of course, this is a group reading, so it may resonate for some of you, may resonate, may not, but I'll give you some time to think of your question if you haven't already thought about it right now. All right, here's the answer. Also, it is 4:44 as I say this, so pause, make a wish. I'm telling you, the 4s and the 44s, all that, make a wish, everybody. Especially with success being here. Okay, hopefully you made a wish. But yeah, so the answer to your question is success. And now here is the other card. I'll have you think of a different question right now. Here is the answer to your question. May resonate, may not, but I love that it says no need to worry because seriously, the future, even the present looks very bright. It feels so powerful. Y'all don't even know. If this is how powerful it feels now, I can't even wait until the future. All these opportunities to present themselves to you. I will leave it at that though. Thank you so much, 1A, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this deck, and you can update your comment again in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out the other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR, that will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 1A, and take care. Hello, 2B, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The cards that are pulled here are the Four of Wands upright, Guide of Wands or Queen of Wands in reverse, Nine of Swords upright, Nine of Wands in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse, and Queen of Pentacles in reverse. If you notice, there are 3 Queen's cards here, and all 3 of them are in reverse. And then we have intimacy, sexual chemistry, reminiscing. Number 46, 8th house mystery. And we have emotions. And there are 2 other oracle cards I'll get to at the very end of your reading. They are from the Angel Answers Oracle deck, and those will be in a question and answer format. But for right now, let's focus on these other cards. Okay, so a lot of you who have chosen this stack, what do I even want to start with? If you are engaged, There's a big sense of there being like a broken engagement here for some of you. If you're married, I would be careful about that because I do see like divorces potentially happen. I just see basically somebody could cheat, right? Even if any long-term relationship. And by the way, if you chose this stack, I'm mainly going to be talking, I think, about romantic dynamics, a romantic relationship, but this can also include um a relationship you have outside of a romantic nature. So just take the messaging as you will, and it should make sense for you still. And apply it to your life however it best fits. But there's a sense that if you were in a relationship, cheating could happen during this time. There is a sense that this could almost come very much out of left, not even almost. It looks like for most of you, this would come out of left field, like this person hasn't cheated on you before. And but also, I'm talking about another person, but it could be you as well. So if you think that this more so applies to you or that it could, then take this messaging as you will. But somebody, if you're in a romantic relationship, is likely to cheat. I'm not just talking about emotional cheating, like it shows here that it's actually like in all ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if you find out somebody's been cheating physically and emotionally. So like they text a lot, they have pet names for each other. Remember, all this is alleged for entertainment purposes only. Okay. And if this doesn't apply to you or your relationship, it could also involve somebody who you're super close with so that it impacts your life, but I don't really get the sense of that. I get the sense that it's more so something that impacts your relationship in some way. This could also indicate that somebody in your life or somebody in your partner's life keeps trying to reach out to either one of you and keeps trying to hook up, like maybe expressing feelings. Also, during this time, there's a lot of exes that might try to come back into your life or people who you almost dated, people who you had a romantic connection with. I see people like that trying to come out of the woodworks and tell you or your partner like their feelings, expressing their romantic feelings for you, like I've always felt this way for you and I love you and I miss you and all that. A lot of dramatics going on for this season. There's also this is gonna be very probably rare in terms of what I feel my demographic is, but for some of you, you could find out that you are pregnant, or you could find out that your partner is pregnant or they got somebody pregnant, like not through the means of your relationship. So the both of you together, it could be from like getting pregnant or getting somebody else pregnant with somebody else. But some of you could also run the risk of getting pregnant. I don't have the Empress here, because usually people think of the Empress in terms of motherhood. But there's a lot of queens here, a lot of queens energy. So a lot of you have to be very, very careful about getting pregnant. And if you like that could be again with your current partner or somebody you end up cheating with. And I do want to throw this in there because since there are so many, maybe you know what, maybe I'll get to that later. Because I said I was gonna mainly talk about romantic relationship, but there's another theme that's showing up in here as well that I'll talk about. Maybe I'll just start talking about that now, like intertwine the both of the messages. But for some of you, this could involve a mother figure in your life. It could mean that you are grieving the loss of a mother figure, or it could mean that you go no contact with a mother figure, or you just have a really bad fight to the point of not talking, not speaking with one another for quite some time, or for the rest of at least this time period, like over the next few months. So that could happen for some of you. I do gotta say, I want interesting. I wonder if some of you were raised by like a single mom, and the single mom just had to do so much, but then she wasn't really the most considerate or kind to her children. Um, because she was just trying to survive every day and she didn't really know how to keep everything afloat. Probably it was very hard for some of you who this relates to. And in that sense, because 8th house, okay, 8th house is the house of sex, but it's also the house of trauma, right? 12th house is as well, in my opinion, but with 8th house there, I wonder if you'll find out something about your mom, like, you hear those stories about, "Oh, yeah, I did genetic testing, and found out my parents are my parents." Like, there could be a situation like that. So maybe you find out you're not actually related to your parents that you were adopted, or that, like, your mom is your mom, but maybe your dad isn't your dad. Uh, this could indicate, though, I think I already said this, grieving the loss of a mother figure in your life, because 8th house is the house of death as well. And for some of you, this actually relates probably more to aunt energy as well. I have to mention that if you have an aunt that you're super close with. And in this situation, the intimacy card would indicate not sexual chemistry. It would indicate the close bond that you have with this mother figure, and the sadness of the relationship in some way, whether it's because you were close, or else the intimacy can indicate a struggling of having, like, struggling to have a proper relationship with your parent figure, your mother, because maybe you're just not close, maybe she was very toxic or abusive, right? And maybe continues to be that way. 8th house can also deal with addictions, so some of you or your mother figures could deal with addiction or even just mental health issues, and so that's something during this season to really keep an eye on, because it's something that's popping up as potentially serious. I'll go back to what I was saying before, though, about the relationship. So for some of you, I actually, this reminds me about the addictive qualities. A lot of you could be very codependent on this person. So I think a lot of you, if you find out about any cheating going on, would struggle with wanting to maybe stay with this person. And I think I've maybe insinuated that it's like a guy, it doesn't have to be. It could be a girl, a non-binary person, it could be anybody. Um, Or you could be as well. It's just there's a lot of queen energy here, so that indicates there's somebody who's, like, this is okay. With the queen's energy, it makes me more likely to think that even though there likely could be, like, sexual cheating of a sexual nature, that the emotional cheating would hurt worse. And I said this, but I feel like people could reach out from the past, or people could, like, people that both of you know, yeah, will try to reach out to either one of you and make something happen. And that's, I think, what will sting so much, is that there's somebody involved that likely you both already know and could be very close with. And so maybe your partner does pick up any offers of a romantic or sexual nature, or maybe they turn them down, but it's still something that's affecting your relationship because you feel like you can't trust each other now and you can't trust each other's friends now. But with the codependency thing, I want to get back to that because it feels like a lot of you are willing to maybe try to look past any cheating that could happen because you would want to make the relationship work so bad. And Four of Wands energy is telling me that y'all have probably seriously been dating or have been engaged or married. Like, you've just been together for quite a long time. The energy that's being read here is that of, like, your worst fears coming to light. It's like when you start dating somebody, if you have any baggage from prior relationships or from seeing how your parents were with each other, or, just seeing how romance affected your life growing up. Um, for some of you, that's why it's like you have codependency issues. Maybe you have trust issues, a lot of you. So then it's like, let's say you enter a relationship with this person and they tell you all the right things, and you end up feeling safe and comfortable around them. You let your guard down more. And then it's like they completely betray your trust because they cheat. Uh, hmm, I keep looking at that 8th house. It's making me nervous. There's a lot of intensity with all of this going on. Some of you could find out that I sometimes tie in gossip with the 8th house, where I wonder if you will find out that your partner has been talking really poorly about you behind your back to other people. And I think that will make a lot of you obviously so very upset. And I feel like if this is the case for you, finding out this information, it will be hard to trust this person. All in all, this is a good time period to like break up with people, to be quite honest. Uh or to like end any sort of relationship because it just feels like people are betraying your trust. People are being very sneaky. It's a very sneaky energy. People are trying to do things behind your back. People aren't obviously respecting you if they're doing any of these things or saying any of these things, talking crap about you. It could also indicate, I wonder if there's certain people in your friend group or family group that have been trying to tell your partner to break up with you. Or it could be the reverse, where that person's friends or family could be telling you, like, hey, shouldn't work out. Like, y'all aren't a good match. Y'all should break up. You should break up with my son or whatever. But it could also be like your own family and friends telling you, hey, break up with this person, and the other person doing the same thing. I think in these situations where that resonates or that ends up happening, I don't want to say it comes from a bad place, but I feel like I think it's really interesting the way this is coming across. I think people in your life are just very intuitive about the situation. I don't think there's any actual red flags that have been presented, like, overly so yet for the relationship, maybe just very minor ones, nothing major, it feels like for a lot of you, but it does feel like your friends and family just intuitively know that the relationship maybe isn't the best for you, so it's hard for them to maybe relay specifically why anybody should end the relationship. But then I think that information will still come out where you just won't, be able to trust them anymore after this piece of information comes out. And this could with the 4 of Wands, this could happen, like, at a celebratory event, like, something could happen, at somebody's birthday party or just, like, a general party or, like, at the club, and I feel like stuff could go down. So for some I know I did say for a lot of you, it feels like this is something that could be going on for a while. I think that energy I was picking up on is more so the fact that you and this person have been together for a long time. Uh, it could easily just as easily be that this person makes a mistake one time, but I think you won't be able to bounce back from that in the relationship, and you'll always be like, you'll start wanting to check their phone all the time, you'll start wanting to always go where they're going, so I just don't see it being a healthy dynamic in this romantic relationship. And for some of you, I wonder if with the 4 of Wands upright, this is on a different note, if you have somebody who's getting married, I think if there's somebody who you're really close to in your life, you may not and they're getting married, you may not approve of their partner or of their relationship for a lot, or, they just stop spending much time with you. So for some of you where that resonates, then this can just indicate that you get into a kind of depressive episode or like time period, and it will be hard for you to connect with people because the main person you maybe connect with is getting married or is off traveling somewhere. Maybe they've moved away. Just as an example, for some of you, this could indicate that you've been moving and you're having a hard time connecting with the people of your new environment. If you're moving during this time period or you recently moved, you may struggle with finding any romantic connections or any friendship connections, and you just may be very different from the people in your work environment, is what I'm hearing. Even just your neighborhood, it feels like it will be hard for you to assimilate for those of you where that more so resonates. I feel like there's something with this intimacy card I have to bring up again. One second. I will say, for some of you, this could be that you're scared of being in a relationship. So for those of you who aren't in a relationship right now, if you haven't been in a relationship for a while, maybe it's really hard for you to get back into the game because of any traumatic experiences you've had from the past. And so because of that, it's hard for you to trust people, it's hard for you to let your guard down, and it's hard for you to open yourself up and fully present yourself as you are, maybe when you're on dates or when you start officially dating somebody. That could be indicated here too with that Four of Wands. It's like a celebration of being in a relationship, but also I feel like a lot of you think you're not ready. I will say for those of you who are single right now, it could be a good time to just date around, but not try to fully commit to anybody. I think it could be hard for a lot of you to commit right now just because with this eighth house energy, there's so much going on where there's so much going on where you need to grieve, where you need to heal. And I think there's even if you okay, so whether you're in a relationship right now or not, I think there's a lot of things you already need to heal from prior relationships or earlier on in this current relationship if you're in one. There's a lot of things that you need to heal from where it feels like okay, I'll bring this up. If any of you have ever been like SA'd as well, I see that causing issues for you mentally, well, and physically too, because it can be hard to be vulnerable physically in that way, after something like that happens. So, in that kind of situation, of course, I do recommend if you're able to seek professional help. Like, I can't really provide professional help. I'm not a certified therapist or counselor or anything. So hopefully you are able to get the healing that is needed because this stack, I have to tell you, you deserve love. And you deserve love where you don't have to question the other person's intentions all the time, and you don't have to question if the person likes you or loves you. I think a lot of you have had a lot of issues in the past with that. And maybe you grew up in a household where people never showed any affection. Maybe your parents with each other never showed physical affection. They like never kissed and they fought all the time. I think a lot of the people who chose this stack are afraid of turning out like their parents or having a relationship like their parents' relationship was. There's a sense that you don't want to keep repeating patterns or cycles. You want to be able to break these cycles of generational trauma, or you want to be able to break these cycles of having really awful partners in the past. But it feels like you're kind of stuck in doing so and you're afraid to fully sever these cycles and ties because the thing about trauma is that if we're living within it and we try to get out of it, it feels unsafe, which it sounds contradictory, but if it's what you're familiar with, if your circumstances, even if they're unsafe, if that's what you're familiar with, then your mind and body and soul learns to adapt to those situations so that you can survive, so that you're I feel like a lot of you probably struggle with dissociation as well in some capacity, or if you get into fights with people, I wouldn't be surprised if your style of arguing or fighting is you more so shut down. It seems like you just don't wanna keep fighting with people. You want to be able to just have and receive love, and you want to be able to give it without having to worry about receiving it in return. So, for this autumn 2025, or whenever you're deciding to listen to this, if you still feel drawn to the stack, there's a sense that you just overall, the theme is working on your own healing, no matter what the circumstances, right? I think a lot of you need to evaluate how romantic relationships, yours and the people around you, how they have impacted your life and impacted your psyche. So, how do you view relationships? Do you rely on relationships for your happiness? Are you hyper independent so you don't think you'll ever be in a loving relationship? Or do you think you're not worthy of a loving relationship? And if so, why? Like, why do you think these negative things? There's a lot about romantic relationships or any like sexual occurrences that have left a negative imprint on you or impact on you. And so, for this time period, Spirit really wants you to dive deep into these issues and try to find a way to heal and to love yourself. There's a sense of finding love and self-worth in other people. So spirit wants you to focus that love inward. And with 8th house, it is a very introspective house, even though in the Starcodes Astro Oracle deck in the guidebook, it talks about how the 12th house is introspective. I think the 8th and 12th houses are very similar in many ways, but 8th house to me is also very introspective. It's about getting to the root causes of issues. So if, for example, you're the one that maybe is cheating in a relationship, then get to the root issue of why it is that you were cheating. Um, I don't think it's as simple as, well, maybe I should just open up the relationship. Maybe for some of you that could be the case, but there's something a lot deeper that you haven't been willing to face. So with that Knight of Swords upright energy, Spirit is saying that it's time to confront your fears. Nine of Wands in reverse, be vulnerable with yourself. I see this being a time of needing to be gentle with yourself, because I don't see a lot of, not in a negative way, honestly, but I don't see much emotional stability during this time period, because I see a lot of fearfulness. The more we address our issues, the more fearful we can become and scared we can become of just these thoughts that we've suppressed, these feelings that we've suppressed. It can be very scary, so it's a good time for grounding yourself. It's a good time for seek help as needed, but I think a lot of this is about internally, like with yourself, coming to realizations yourself and then coming up with solutions. Because I think some of you maybe rely too much on other people, so Spirit wants you to trust your own judgment, trust your intuition. A lot of you have blocked third eye chakras. A lot of you don't trust yourself because you're hyper vigilant in many ways about certain relationships in your life. And this even includes the non-romantic ones, where I think a lot of you struggle with codependency with your friendships or family members as well, where you rely on other people to help build you up, or you rely on, like, I see a lot of you being very scatterbrained and going from point A to point B to point C, and like always, like if somebody in your life gives you a piece of information or a piece of advice and you don't like it, then it's like you just like turn it down and run away. There's escapist tendencies that I'm seeing in this stack as well. It's interesting though that I see that, because I do see the codependency, but people can have both, right? Anxious, avoidant attachment. So you anxiously want to be with your partner and like you beg them to stay and stop cheating, but then you also go away and like don't answer your phone for maybe a few days because you're just so like upset by everything. I don't know. But you need to be able to confront. Don't cling to anything that isn't yours or isn't meant for you or that isn't healthy for you, but don't escape, because you have the power and the truth and the strength to stay still and to accept. It's a time of acceptance, even for the things we don't like, even for the things that upset us. It's about accepting what is, and if there's anything that you can change for your life, you can change, but if there's something other people are doing in their life that you are feeling the need to change, Spirit is like, it's not the time to do that. It's about focusing on your own healing. Don't focus on the well-being of other people so much for this time period. Focus on, over these next few months, your own healing. I see it being hard to connect with people anyway as you come to realize certain things about yourself or your thoughts or feelings that have been suppressed. So it'll be hard for you to maybe communicate with people in general. I see this very much being a cocoon, dark, what is it, dark night of the soul type of vibe. But I see you feeling a lot more comfortable in your own skin by the end of this, whatever it is that you're confronting or having to resolve. I see you feeling a lot more comfortable in your own skin and being able to start trusting yourself again. I see you forming healthier relationships after this time period is over and not settling. That's a big theme too. Like, notice in life, in your relationships and anywhere else where you settle or you do something because you think it will get you positive attention or because it will give you praise. I think a lot of you are living your lives right now in terms of the way other people want for them to be lived. You're being very people-pleasing, and you're being very self-sacrificing, and Spirit wants you to instead focus on how you can provide for yourself instead of just thinking about the ways in which you provide for other people. And they want for you to think about just overall releasing anything that doesn't serve you. It's a really good time for you, if you chose this pile, to release any and all people and things, situations, jobs, anything that doesn't serve you in a positive way. It's a time of releasing. And I think a lot of you, it will be really difficult. You'll struggle because you have such close connections and ties to these different people or things. And Spirit is saying it is meant to be hard. Uh, I don't want to say I guess it's meant to be hard, but I mean it is, just because it shows that you care or cared about these people or things, and it's okay to have cared. But we need to get to a place of either not caring or caring a lot less so that it doesn't have such an overarching impact on your life and it doesn't dictate your day to day. For those of you who I will say who are in loving relationships, I think you just have a lot of internal work that needs to be done in order to sustain or maintain this healthy relationship, because I see you being in a place of not being able to keep up where you will maybe self-sabotage in those kinds of situations where it is healthy. So in order to prevent yourself from self-sabotaging, such as cheating, then you need to do the internal work to realize where these impulses come from, as well as hopefully gaining the advice or messaging from a therapist. Let's go into the guidebook though. So we have 46 8th house mystery. If your chart were a village map, the 8th house would be on the corner of the red light district next to a mortuary and the Avings and Loan Bank. It is a private house where we deal with things we don't talk about in public: sex, death, debts, loans, psychic phenomenon. Here we deal with other people's resources and how they are exchanged: money, bodies, thoughts, and work, and how we inherit goods and attitudes. This house can feel uncomfortable, but it's a place where we can transform action. Also, I want to say I don't think I've ever pulled 8th house from this Starcodes deck, and I've had it for, I want to say, at least a year anyway, and I use it quite a bit for the readings on YouTube as well as in my personal life. So action. Assess the power dynamics between you and other people around important resources like sex, money, and inheritances. Notice if a relative or boss withholds money until you behave, or if you, ooh, that doesn't sound good, or if you are a lover, withholds sex until some other need is met. Just get clear in your own mind if anyone is pulling strings and try to heal dysfunctional dynamics with clear and healthy boundaries. Seduce honestly. Not all strange sexual dynamics or unusual financial agreements are a problem. If you understand your peculiarities and don't feel coerced or controlled by them, they are just part of who you are. Financial investors and advisors, consultants, ministers, lovers, intuitives, brain trusts, auctioneers, and investigators all work with 8th house affairs, and if they work with integrity, do so productively. I wonder, for some of you, part of the messaging of this stack is that you have like a certain kink or sexual desire, and maybe you feel really embarrassed and ashamed by that. There is a lot of overall shame that I'm feeling from this stack. So maybe it could be that some of that internal shame relates to that. Develop your second house resources, your own money, sense of worth, and body confidence to strengthen your freedom and bargaining power and operate in this realm with grace. Engage the resources handed to you, but make your own judgment calls. The 8th house calls for one last freedom, to acknowledge that death exists and be fully alive in response. Challenge. It can be tempting to manipulate by withholding love, power, or money, and hard to step away when someone else is jerking those chains. Gift. Face your worst fears and step through. Feel that liberation. The trap of manipulation falls away when you don't bite the hook. Let's go to the other guidebook now. So it says, emotions. You're evolving and progressing, so it's natural for you to have a different perspective now than you did before. You drew this card because your feelings are speaking to you, and it's important for you to listen. Ignored emotions only grow stronger and louder. There's something in your life that is becoming intolerable to you. You once were able to endure or even enjoy the situation, but because you have changed, so too have your emotions. This card asks you to be honest with yourself and take an inventory of how you're feeling. You don't have to resort to drastic action to resolve anything. Sometimes it's enough just to acknowledge your own feelings so that your heart feels heard and understood. Additional meanings: getting guidance from a therapist or joining a support group, dealing with an emotional loved one, or empathetically absorbing other people's emotions. I think all of those could definitely relate to you, all of those associations. What I'm going to do now is I want for you to look at this card right here on the screen, and I want for you to think about a question. It could be a question that you've already thought of before that you think would relate to this situation, or it could be something different based off of the energy that you're getting from the card. So look at the card, think of a question that you think you should ask, and remember that this is a group reading, so for some people it could resonate, and for those of you who it does resonate, just take that as extra confirmation. But I'll give you some more time to think about the question right now. All right, here is the answer to that question. Now let's move over to this other card right here. And I would like for you to think of another question right now. And here's the answer for that question. And I will leave it at that. Thank you so much to B for watching and listening to this video. I hope it was helpful for you in some way or insightful. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. That will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, Tubi, and take care. Hello, 3C, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The cards pulled are 10 of Swords in reverse, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, 3 of Wands upright, 2 of Swords upright, 10 of Wands upright, and the Magician upright. And then for the Oracle cards, we have Commitment, things are getting serious. And for the last two cards, I will read from those guidebooks as well. But it says 31, Juno partnership. So 31 could be an important number for you. It could be also like the 31st of a month, or it could also represent just end of month energy, like, or something ending in general. And then we have hobbies. So for you all, there's quite a few different oh, and then I have also, I want to say, two other two other oracle cards that will be shown later. They are going to be displayed in a question and answer format. So you ask a question and then answer is revealed. My cat is sniffing at the air so rapidly. What do you smell, honey? What do you smell? What are you sniffing at? Do you sense spirit? That was so weird. Like, y'all should have seen him. We are nowhere near the kitchen, by the way, the opposite end of where our kitchen is in our apartment. Weird. What are you doing? Okay, I wonder if he's feeling spirit. But there's a lot of different messages that are coming through for you all. But basically, this stack, if you chose this, I'd be very surprised if you chose also pile number 2. Because for you all, there is pile 2 dealt with the opposite messaging of what I'm about to tell you now, which is that this is a perfect time for you to date. It's a perfect time for also any existing romantic relationship or relationships you may have. I do get a sense of there being more, that you're more monogamous, but that doesn't mean it has to be. That's just the way this is reading right now for me. But if any of you are single right now, and even if you're not looking to date, I feel like you'll be able to meet somebody. But with the Magician here, it makes me think that you've been wanting to meet somebody. 10 of Wands tells me maybe you've been too busy. Same with 8 of Pentacles. I think a lot of you are so busy and focused on things going on in your life right now, that it's hard to date. or maintain a relationship. We also have Three of Wands, which to me, I always associate that card with moving away. So for some of you, maybe you are moving, even if it's to a different part of town or of your city, right? A different part of state. It doesn't have to be somewhere so far away. For some of you, it will be though. So maybe during autumn, you will be moving. And so because of that, you'll be in a different environment. And so the dating scene may be a bit different. You'll date different kinds of people. Um, yeah, it seems like there's either a major shift that has recently happened in your life, a major change, and recently happened, or it is about to happen. And so with that comes in the Magician with new opportunities, specifically as it relates to new romantic opportunities. It also feels like a lot of you, since it does feel like a lot of changes and a lot of newness, it feels like the more changes you go through, the more, I wanna say, open your energy is to receiving love at this point in time. It's so interesting. It's like the more open you are to abundance in one area of life, it opens up in another area, and it also then therefore opens up abundance of love. For some of you too, this could be about friendships. I'm not really getting that sense as much. Just because we also have Juno here with partnership, which Juno is known as like Juno is an asteroid, right? Or is Juno a dwarf planet? Wait. Let me look it up. Because Juno isn't like an actual planet. Sometimes I get the asteroids and such confused. Seventh planet from the sun. It is a planet. Wait, what is it? I'm confused. A minor planet. A large asteroid. There we go. It is an asteroid. Okay. Just wanted to do that for clarification, I guess. I felt like doing that. So it's not a planet, but it is an asteroid, but it's still very powerful. It's the asteroid of love. Also, some people just do call it, other than Venus, like, some people consider Juno more tied to love than Venus, because Venus has other ties, like even to friendships and such, but Juno more specifically is about soulmate energy. So literally during autumn, you could meet your soulmate, or you could grow closer to your soulmate. I feel like a lot of you, this is somebody who you, like, I feel like if you're single, your soulmate is somebody that you have not met yet. That could even be the case if you're in a relationship right now, meaning that the person you date after your current partner. Again, all alleged for entertainment purposes only. For some of you, though, it is about if you've recently started dating somebody and you're not sure, or even if you feel good about it, this is a good indication from spirit that could be your soulmate. If you believe in I believe in multiple soulmates. I don't think we have one specific soulmate for us personally. I think there's multiple soulmates we can have. Anyway, this person, for some of you who have just started dating or you haven't dated for that long, this could be a good indication of that. And of that, with the commitment here, that means it literally says things are getting serious, so things are becoming more committed. Uh, yeah, so any new relationship or somebody you've been recently seeing or somebody you have yet to see, I see myself that there's a lot of good things coming in terms of that relationship. And when I pulled hobbies, it immediately made me think that this is somebody who you could maybe meet while engaging one of your hobbies. Like through a meetup group is what I'm seeing. If you know what meetup is, meetup.com, you can meet up with a bunch of different people for different things. Or if you're part of a club or organization through your school, or you're thinking of doing that, then that would be a good way to meet this person. But it seems like this is more so somebody you'll meet in your day-to-day life somehow. As opposed to, like, even at the bar, even if you're just out bowling with friends and then you see somebody that you think is cute, you know? But through a hobby, I think a lot of you could meet somebody. So pay attention to that. Spirit is saying don't be worried about that now. But, like, don't be so caught up in that. Be open-minded to whatever happens, but it feels like a lot of you could meet your partner through a hobby, through something outside of work. The fact that hobbies was pulled, I'm not gonna read in the guidebook until a bit later, but I wonder why else it would be pulled other than, like, meeting somebody through a hobby. It also could just mean that I will say, it could mean that your partner is somebody who you just have a lot in common with, especially as it relates to hobbies. Like, maybe you do meet through Tinder or Bumble, right? But then you have a lot in common, and let's say you both love hiking. So then you both go on hikes like every weekend. Oh my god, oh my god, I feel like crying right now. Why is that hitting me so hard? I think for a lot of you, that hits home. Maybe it's because it's like, yep, you hit the nail on the head, or it's like you, oh yeah, I want that so bad. I want to be able to do things with my partner. Oh my god. Or Three of Wands energy too. I feel like you could travel with this person a lot too. Your hobby as it relates to traveling to different places, learning about different cultures. Oh my gosh, this next relationship or this new relationship you're in feels so like it makes me feel so giddy. And it also feels very youthful. Could be because a lot of you are young, but even if not, it's like this person makes you want to say, oh, I feel young again, I feel like I'm in high school. Like puppy love, where it's very cute. Oh my gosh. Brittney, stop it. Do not cry. Oh my god, I'm about to like burst into actual loud crying and tears. The way that this is coming through is so sweet and so innocent. It feels very natural. So this person who you should be in a relationship with potentially or start dating or you're already dating right in autumn, it feels like you'll be able to connect on such a deep level without even needing to use words. I feel like that's how a lot of you will connect with your people anyways through the best way to connect is probably through activities and action. And it feels like you'll just very naturally fit into each other's lives. Oh my god, I literally have a tear. Wait, 1 second, I gotta get it. Snatch it away. It's interesting though, because with the Ten of Swords in reverse and the Two of Swords upright. And I love how they're mirroring each other. I love when the cards are mirroring each other when I lay them out, but the Ten of Wands in reverse makes me think that a lot of you are ready to date again. You've been hurt in the past, very obviously. Some of you maybe have even been cheated on with that card being there. Some of you, I think, with the Two of Swords energy, you have trust issues. But Spirit is saying that this energy coming in, this love that is coming in for you for this time period, whether it's autumn 2025 or just whenever you listen to this, if you're feeling drawn to this stack, it feels so innocent and so pure. Like, you'll realize very quickly you won't have to question this person's intentions or question if they'll do anything to hurt you. You'll probably still have things come up where you'll worry about if somebody will hurt you, if this person that you really like will hurt you, but Spirit is saying you shouldn't worry about that because this seems like a very good person, a very good fit for you, but also just a very good, kind person and somebody who is very compatible with you, who will want to do things with you. They won't want to do only what they want to do. But also, I will say, since it seems like you have a lot in common anyway, it's like what they want to do is already what you want to do anyway, I think. But I feel like there will also be compromise within the relationship from both sides, from your side and the other person's side, where it feels like they don't mind they don't mind compromising and doing something that's outside of their comfort zone or even something they don't like if it means it makes you happy, and as long as it's reciprocated, from your end as well. It's not just one person giving all their energy and sacrificing. There's a sacrifice that both parties have to make in order to maintain equilibrium. There's a lot of balance that I'm seeing, but also just overall a lot of joy and a lot of happiness and adventure. I feel like you'll be able to experience a lot of new things together. This love that is coming in. And also I think you'll have a lot of deep conversations, even though I think you're more so the type of couple who will engage in activities together. When the time comes where somebody wants to be vulnerable and open up, I see it being a very safe environment to do so for you and the other person. And yeah, I just see it being such where you still are good communicators, but you're better through showing love through action as opposed to words. But I do see that in those moments where somebody does need to vent, the other person can be the shoulder you need to cry on, and they can validate your concerns if you have any for anything. If you have any jealousy over like in the relationship, I don't really see that is popping up. Like if you typically do, I don't really see it popping up because I just feel like there's so much trust. Oh my goodness, that was so loud. I am so sorry. I'm right next to the. Do you hear that? Maybe not. I'm right next to my the closet right here. That stunned me. I couldn't even talk. I'm like, what is it that I'm next to? Well, I did not plan to do that. I also woke my cat up. Now he's back to sleep though. Anyway, you know what? It kind of reminds me of. I wonder if a lot of you, sometimes when people are in love, they kind of are clumsy in love is the best way I can describe it. Like when you're around this person, I wonder if you easily stumble or get clumsy just because like the spark I think will be there even after like a long time of dating. If you date for a long time, it feels like the spark will always be kept alive. So it's like your partner always does something to make your heart flutter and for you to still feel like young and in love is the way that it comes across. So I really love that. And then for the oh yeah, I was gonna say the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. You know what that indicates to me too? So I think a lot of you have been focusing on certain other areas of your life, but also Eight of Pentacles in reverse makes me think that you've been really working hard on yourself. Paired with that Ten of Swords in reverse, I think you've been working hard to not be defined by any past romantic relationship that you've had, especially the most recent one. I know this is weird, but even the second to last one you had, I feel like for some of you, or for quite a bit of you, that one was even more impactful for some way. I don't know why. Interesting. Ten of Wands, though, is saying that you've been carrying around this, like, the burden and the energy of this past relationship or this other person. So you've been working hard on doing that, and instead of focusing on your own healing journey, you've been focusing on trying to see what you makes you happy, and you've also just been focusing on a lot of, like, external earthly things, such as career, such as nurturing your friendships, such as making sure you pay rent, that you run errands. I think a lot of you have been in that state where it's like you're in a good flow state of accomplishing tasks and achievements and chasing after your own personal goals. But I think now it's time it's time for you to focus on romance as well because you've already done the work in other areas of your life. And so because you've done the work in other areas of your life, it's opened up space for romance to now enter in. Does that make sense? Magician and upright. I wonder if some of you also have been trying to manifest a certain partner into your life, but it just you haven't been able to. I think what the cards indicate to me is also that you just haven't been ready in the past, but now you're ready. During this time period, you're ready now. Spirit has wanted you to, if you've tried manifesting in the past or you've wanted to go on dates or you have gone on dates in the past, but it just hasn't worked out. Spirit is like, those people weren't meant for you, but also it was not the right time for you. It was time for you to like focus on yourself previously, and you've done a lot of work for yourself and on yourself. And so now if you want to manifest, it would be a good time to do so. But I feel like this person will come into your life very naturally, and you could meet them in very much a day-to-day fashion instead of like through the apps. Some of you maybe you'll still meet them through the apps, but yeah. Also, with Three of Wands, it could indicate that your next partner is somebody who's not originally from your home state or hometown or even home country. It could be somebody who also is just very different from anybody else you've dated in the past. That's the way this comes across. So make sure that you're open-minded during this time because Spirit is saying that this person who's coming in, who's meant for you to date, hopefully for a long time, is somebody who you've never dated somebody like them before, or there's somebody who you would originally think is very different from you, but then once you get to know them, you realize there's so many similarities between you two. I wonder too if with that Two of Swords, I wonder if you'll end up going on dates with other people during this time and also the other person will. I feel like there's gonna be some sort of competition. People are gonna have to fight for like your potential partner that you want, or people will fight over you. It's very interesting. So you have to pick and choose, but Spirit is saying it will be a very easy decision if you actually sit down and think. If you're in that kind of situation, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's very obvious to this person who I want to keep seeing. It'll be very, very clear. And I think a lot of you do have a lot of responsibilities in your day-to-day life with that Ten of Wands. So but I think this person will easily fit into your life, so it won't feel like a burden or even much of a responsibility. Like, how do I explain? It will feel like a responsibility isn't something you want to nurture, but not a responsibility isn't something that is a burden that you have to do. It'll be something that you want to do, like to nurture this relationship, to learn about this person, to grow hopefully in love with this other person. And I see it being, just so beautiful, so beautiful. For some of you, on the rare occasion who are listening to this, maybe this can also indicate a good business deal. And if you're looking to start a business or network with a certain somebody or like do a big something big related to business or career, now would be a good time for that as well. And I see that being harmonious, you finding somebody who has and shares the same passion as you. Yeah, so I thought I would throw that in there as well. I just see this being a very fun time for you. I think you've had fun doing things by yourself, but now it's about doing and having fun with other people. So that could include friends as well, but I think it especially involves that potential romantic partner. I just see you spending a lot of time together. This is a kind of relationship where y'all never grow tired of each other, but I feel like you'll still have a lot of alone time, so then it makes it when you are together, it makes you more happy and grateful. I wonder if too, you and this other person could have different work schedules, so originally that might seem like with the Two of Swords, it might be hard to talk with them or communicate with them at first, like, trying to figure out when you can see each other in person, go on dates, but you'll get into this I just keep hearing, like, this flow state, that you're already in a flow state, and so your flow state won't be disrupted, you'll still be in a flow state, but now harmoniously with this other person, and you'll be able to make it work and find time for each other, and you'll want to make time for each other. And so I see that from both ends. I see it being a very balanced relationship in terms of who gives energy to who. And for those of you who are already in a relationship and maybe have been for a bit, I did talk mainly about people who aren't in relationships and then people who are like who had just started dating somebody, but even if you've been in a relationship for a while, just this is still a good indication from spirit. Like you can take all the messages that I've already talked about and apply them to your life. They probably still resonate. And even further, this could indicate that a proposal could be coming up. If some of you are wondering how to spice up your romance life, this is saying to engage in the same hobbies. Um, so let's say your partner really likes video games, but you don't. But then you really like baking, but your partner doesn't. If neither of you want to do something like that, then find something you can do together, and you'll probably enjoy it more doing it together as opposed to doing it alone. Like, what's an example? Like a puzzle. Maybe you don't like doing puzzles alone, but then because you tell your partner, hey, we should do something together, what about a puzzle? Like, we should engage in some hobby together. What about this? And then if you do that, then that's what can make it fun. That can be what helps strengthen the relationship if you are in a relationship and you've been in a relationship for a while. If you want to spice it up or find a way to better connect. And for those of you who have been in a relationship for a while, I see that the magician, like there are ways in which you can easily spice it up the romance. And to continue being friends too is a big part I want to touch on. I think you'll find that finding ways to be friends in this relationship will help you to grow closer together as romantic partners. So make sure you think of ways to do that. And also, I think for some of you, like engaging in chores with your partner, such as cleaning together, going to the store, the grocery store, or like a Costco or something together. I see that being actually something that can easily bring you together. It's about having an open mindset and having the thought of, I'm doing this with my partner. This is a way for us to connect and spend time together, especially if any of you have been really busy lately, haven't seen your partner lately, doing something like that, doing everyday activity, because a lot of this is about everyday stuff. A lot of this spread. It feels like there needs to be, well, I mean, yeah, a commitment, I guess, but it feels like that starts with the everyday actions. So a lot of you who are single, you could meet your person in the everyday, but I also think doing things in the everyday fashion instead of going on these grandiose adventures will be where it starts. I still see that for you as well. We have that Three of Wands energy here. and the magician and all that. I see you doing things like going on trips, vacations, adventures, like doing these big grandiose dates, but spirit also wants for you to balance that out with the really small dates, and you can consider doing something like going to the grocery store, a small date, something you're doing with your partner. Don't just think of it as something to check off your list. Think of it as something you can do with your partner specifically. Okay? And also, I talked about the balance between partners earlier for like if you're starting a new relationship or if you're single, like if somebody or how I said how what was it? What was I trying to say? Like, oh gosh, I'm trying to figure out. I'm getting the visuals, but the words are not coming to my brain right now. How how one person will have to make sacrifices for the other person, and you'll have to make sacrifices for your partner will have to make sacrifices for you within the relationship. There's a lot of balance that I'm seeing within this relationship, whatever kind it is or how long it's been there. So those sacrifices also include things that you don't, like I said before, like to do, such as if you don't like going grocery shopping, changing your mindset and being more balanced. And if you are able to sacrifice every once in a while, you'll realize that doing something with your partner, like going to the store, was worth the sacrifice. And maybe you're able to talk and catch up on things at the store. Or maybe you find out that there's like this new food item that you didn't like, both of you, like let's say you love ice cream. This comes from experience. I love ice cream. But let's say there's a new ice cream flavor from your favorite brand. Let's just say it's Ben& and Jerry's, right? And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I like love this concept." And your partner's like, "Oh my gosh, let's get like 5 of them." And you just you just like try them out. Or I see doing small things that are fun, such as trying out a new ice cream flavor. That's where the moneymaker is, because that's something that's fun, and if you both do it together, or if you do a game of, like, trying a bunch of new flavors or new brands, oh my god, I feel like crying again, because something like that is it's so sweet, but it's so simple, and that's the thing, it's so simple, there's beauty in simplicity, y'all. But, like, doing something like buying different ice cream flavors that neither of you have ever tried, or, like, one person blindfolds the other person, and then you, get them to try to guess what the flavor is, stuff like that feels so, like, embedded in this relationship. The simple things, but balancing that out with the big things, but it wouldn't be anything without the small, simple things. It's about how you show up for each other every day, and you don't have to do anything big. You can just be there, be a shoulder for somebody to cry on. You can just talk to them and ask them how their day was. There's very much the vibe of that within the relationship. So if you are already in a relationship and you have been for a while, just consider all that I've been saying, and all of that should hopefully spicing up your or like energize up, I guess you could say, your relationship, but I see this being a very like soulmate connection. So I see it hopefully lasting a long time for a lot of y'all. But spirit wants you to not put so much pressure on it, and remember, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. So yeah, some of you maybe will meet your partner, your potential partner, this autumn or this time period. But you won't begin dating until later. Like, you'll meet and you'll be friends first. So if that ends up happening, like, don't worry about it. But I feel like for a lot of you don't know this person yet, you will meet them, or maybe they're, like, literally very brand new to your friend group. Very much those vibes. So I would keep an eye out especially for those things. But yeah, just consider everything I have already said, and then whatever resonates, you can take that. But let's go into the guidebook now. I flipped literally right to it. So it is 31 Juno Partnership. The asteroid Juno points out how you may have been trained to choose between love and work and offers clues on how to balance them instead. This asteroid was named after the daughter of Saturn, wife of Jupiter, mother of Mars. Whenever I think of Jupiter, I think Jupiter honestly gives me feminine energy, but anyway. She is queen, the organizer of society, and she rules the roost. Juno and Jupiter modeled an uneasy but equal partnership that took a lot of work and had great rewards. Action. In work and love, Juno wants you to trust that you can hold steady on your life's path and develop equal partnerships. So get in there and wrestle to make the relationship work. Research healthy relationship skills and study negotiation and mediation techniques. I almost said meditation. That could be something fun too, like meditating together. Oh, love that. I've done that before with a past partner. It's like so cool and connecting. and vulnerable. Anyway. Practice respect, communication, love, and conflict resolution between the various facets of your own personality. Like Juno and Jupiter, strive to become two whole, empowered souls who can express their individual potential, work around each other's foibles, and find balance. See the balance. Be responsible for your own connection to the creative source, spirit, and your emotions. Don't ask another to carry your heart for you, as it makes it hard to accept their unique path. Live out your ambition through your own work rather than through your mate, children, employees, or coworkers. If you do so, you can encourage others' growth and exploration along with your own, and so create the foundations of great relationships and a sense of community. If you don't, you can devolve into jealousy or create monsters. If you want to be in a partnership but are not, examine any belief or training that said you have to give up what matters to you in order to partner up. If it's your choice to work alone, accept it. If not, expand that view and invite fresh possibilities. Challenge. If you live out your ambition through your mate or work partner instead of through your own efforts, the situation can devolve into jealousy, manipulation, or disempowering micromanaging. See, I'm not really feeling that through this stack, though, thankfully. Gift. True partnership is a spiritual path. Its sacred acts are the practice of healthy relationship skills. These skills begin within. And I see a lot of healthy relationship dynamics between both people involved or any multiple people involved. So I almost flipped right to this one as well. Let's go to hobbies. It says, how are you spending your free time, dear one? When you're going through life changes, hobbies can provide a stress outlet and meaningful foundation. Your card is guiding you to invest in these pursuits as a way to relax, learn, and enjoy yourself. You'll love to stay busy, yep, and these interests bring fun into your hectic life. Hobbies can be productive as many people turn them into careers. So imagine that you have unlimited time, energy, and money available for a hobby. What's the first one that comes to mind? That's your inner truth, and there's always a way to make it work on any budget and schedule. Joining a group related to your hobby is a wonderful way to make new friends who can be there for you during the next part of your life. Any change, even a positive one, can be stressful, but with playful outlets like hobbies and good friends, it can feel purposeful and joyful. Additional meanings: self-employment, a career based on your passions, trying something new, balancing work and play. Balancing work and play especially. Also trying something new and trying to find a new partner, like somebody that's very new from or different from people you've met in the past. So what I'll do now is go to the final two oracle cards. Let's start with this card. I want you to think of a question. Typically, I would say as it relates to this reading, but it could be about anything. Look at the card and think about what question comes to mind, and I'll give you some time to think about that question now. All right, here is the answer. So for some of you, it may resonate. For some of you, it may not. Again, this is a group reading. But yeah, here's the answer for that card. Let's move on to this card now. I want for you to think of a different question, and I'll have you think about that right now. All right, here's the answer to that question. Thank you so much, 3C, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if you have any updates for us all to read. You can subscribe to my channel, it helps me out a lot. You can check out the other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR, that will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 3C, and take care. Hello, 4D, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. Oh, of course, as soon as I start Zoom, my cat wants to start scratching on the bed. Anyway, we have here the Ace of Wands in reverse, Five of Wands in reverse, Ace of Swords in reverse, Four of Cups upright, Youth of Pentacles or Page of Pentacles upright, and the Hanged Man upright. And then we have for the Oracle cards, sexuality, someone is still figuring themselves out. And we also have, for the other two cards, 50, 12th house introspection, and spiritual growth. And those last two cards I will read from the guidebook later on, but also later on I will have two other oracle cards that you can look at, and they will be formatted in a question and answer situation. Okay, so let's just get right into this reading. I think it's pretty self-explanatory that during this time period, it is about, if we look at what the 12th house card is saying, it is about introspection. No, I don't want to get anybody confused here. We do have sexuality. For some of you, this could be that you're questioning your sexuality more during this time period, or that you will just, yeah, like anything as it relates to your sexuality could come up. Just you questioning it, or you, like, for example, if you're bisexual, but you've never dated somebody of the same gender, maybe you'll go on dates more during this time, or maybe you'll realize that you're not actually bisexual, right? So, like, stuff like that could happen. Or even with sexuality, it makes me think some of you maybe want to try an open relationship, or maybe you want to try something like BDSM, it could be anything like that where there's a new world of possibilities you haven't fully tapped into that you're curious about as it relates to romance and sex and sexuality. But I don't want to get it confused because for some of you, sexuality has nothing to do with it. Although with Ace of Swords in reverse and Ace of Wands in reverse, I wouldn't be surprised if during this time period you have a lot of sexual relationships as well. Or if, yeah, and be careful about getting pregnant though. That's kind of being relayed here. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you got pregnant. And if you're not wanting to get pregnant, then that's something to consider. Like, make sure you're staying safe. uh, But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that sexuality doesn't have to be everything for this reading. I think that where it says someone is still figuring themselves out is what the overarching message is, whether it relates to sexuality or not. So I think that there are parts of yourself that haven't been fully fledged out. There are parts of yourself, or parts of your personality that maybe have been suppressed and now they're finally coming out. Like, let's say you grew up in a very highly religious household, so then you maybe are queer, but maybe you don't know if you are or not. So now is a time of questioning, of going on dates, of maybe having access to different resources. But let's say you grew up in, guess that's just the main thing I think about, but let's say you grew up in a, oh, I was gonna say very open-minded household, but if that were the case, I feel like a lot of this wouldn't really, maybe it's not about the household you're in, but the community you're in or part of the world that you live in, where people are very judgmental about, or very closed off, closed-minded about different things. So just think about anything in which that could relate to you. For some of you, you could just be a woman and you haven't been able to fully express your sexuality because you've always been told like you're just meant to have babies, raise them, and then like you just die one day, right? So thinking about things like that. But I think a lot of the issues that are being presented here don't relate to, I mean, it does and can relate to societal expectations, but this feels more internal, where there may even be parts of you didn't question, and there's no really other reason to it. Maybe you've just never thought about certain things. This is also a time of questioning your beliefs in general, not just who you are and your characteristics, but also your beliefs. I think a lot of you will have shifting beliefs and will want to maybe look into different religions or different spiritual practices, or you'll want to maybe look into different politics, right? Different policies. Maybe this is just a time of getting more involved. Some of you, I think, are also younger anyway, so don't take offense when I say this, but some of you maybe haven't been involved politically or haven't been involved in your community or in charity work. Yeah, maybe you haven't done that much in the past, but now you're thinking of ways in which you can help people. I think for a lot of you too, there's been something that's happened in your life recently that has left a major impact on you. Even if it isn't something that happened directly to you, if it happened to somebody you were close with, it feels like something happened and it makes you think a lot more about not only that situation, but other situations and how it can directly impact you in the future. So, the things I'm thinking about in terms of that are kind of, like, dark, so I won't bring those up, but it could be anything, it doesn't have to be anything super dark or mysterious. Just think of anything in your life in which that would relate. Where something has affected you or somebody you love and care about, and now it's made you shift your perspective on things. I mean, it could be something like, let's say you don't believe that Medicaid should exist, right? Let's say you specifically don't think that people with disabilities should be on Medicaid or that people should have access to government funding, right? Then let's say that one of your really good friends or like your parent, they get into a car wreck and then they become disabled physically in some way, and let's say that maybe they are wheelchair bound for the rest of their lives, and let's say that they can't work, right? So then through Medicaid they would be able to, if they get approved, hopefully, they would be able to not have to worry about becoming houseless, and they could at least have some form of income to survive off of, even though Medicaid, coming from somebody who's been on Medicaid before, like, you barely even get anything anyway. And if you live somewhere where it's higher cost of living, it's even worse. Anyway, so let's say something like that happens, and you're like, oh, I do think then that it should be available for the people who only really need it though, right? You're like, so I think Medicaid should be available to the people who really need it, but maybe not, still not a lot of people. I don't know. Like, this is just an example. I talk about this because I know more about stuff like that happening, personally. But it feels like there's some experience that has recently happened or that is about to happen that will completely shift your viewpoint, and it will make you start thinking about other things as well. Other areas of your belief system will change because of this one thing, this one experience. This one mindset shift leads into multiple different changes and shifts within your, it could be personality as well, but yeah, with 5 of Wands in reverse, I want to talk about that. So I wonder too if part of the reason you're still figuring yourself out is because I wonder if a lot of you are very shy people or you're just more to yourself, right? It seems like a lot of you are also over worriers. It feels like you're fearful of how other people will perceive you. And so maybe you don't fully express yourself around other people. Or maybe you feel like you're being true and authentic, but then you realize during this time period that this autumn 2025 or whenever you're listening, right? Then maybe you realize that, oh, I'm actually, oh, yeah, I think this probably relates to a lot of you. It's like maybe you realize then that you're not as open of a person, or people don't really know the real you. That's a big thing. So but here's the thing, that's because someone is still figuring themselves out. I think a lot of you do not already even know who you are. So I think we can't be too mad or judgmental about other people not knowing who we are, right? Because I think you don't really know who you fully are yet. There's so many parts of yourself you don't know. And maybe there's parts of you that, again, you've maybe been conditioned to push aside, but in other areas, maybe it's just you haven't been given the opportunity to explore these other parts of yourself. But it feels like a lot of you are probably more shy or reserved, or you just don't. I know the best way I can describe it is you're not very expressive, which is why it comes across in this shy energy. Maybe you're a very fun person, right? But even when 4 of Cups is here too, I feel like a lot of you are kind of wallflowers. You fade into the background, but I don't think you dive deeper beyond that into why you are a wallflower. So now is that time of introspection, of asking a lot of whys. Like, why am I like this? Not in a way of shame or guilt or anything, but just like of curiosity. Go into these questions with curiosity. Like, oh, why am I like this? Or why am I afraid to be myself? Why do I not actually know myself yet? And I'm in my like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Why do I not know these parts of myself yet? Am I afraid to look into these parts of myself? Am I just somebody who was born to not have much of a personality, you know? Like, I don't think that's the case. I just think there's some blockages a lot of you need to work through. And I think a lot of you probably are just more like peaceful people that you're just kind of there. I think a lot of you are probably fine with just like being part of the conversation, like being part of the friend group. But there is a point now where spirit wants you to dig deeper, and they want for you to explore why, like, there's a highlight on that Ace of Swords in reversed. Spirit wants you to highlight why you communicate in the way you do. So if it relates to the fact that maybe you're not very expressive, maybe you don't emote very much. It's like, why don't, if I'm happy, why don't I show it on my face very much, right? Was it safe for me to do that in childhood? Was it safe for me to express my emotions? Or was I shamed whenever I was expressing sadness or happiness? So, like, any emotion was a bad emotion. Think about things like that. For some of you, maybe it's just also because you grew up in an environment that you didn't get along with people, not in terms of fighting along with people, but Five of Wands in reverse energy really is keeping the peace. So I wonder if you kind of just changed your personality so that you could survive your environment. So maybe you were in a certain friend group when you were in school because the other people who weren't part of a certain friend group were like bullied or made fun of, right? So I think there's a lot of dismantling of that. It's like, where did you learn to fit in and where can you learn to unfit in a way? Where can you learn to figure out what's actually true for you versus what's true of the community or the environment you were in? Because I think in that way there's more so like conditioning, even more than when I'm getting it being family for some of you, where it's like conditioning of friend groups and environments, even if it's like coworkers, right? There's different groups of coworkers and people are always gossiping. You could be somebody who either like completely stays out of it, so it's hard for you to make friends with people, or you stick with one side of people who where like they're the ones who kind of control the dynamics, right? It just seems like you kind of don't want to even be perceived is the way it comes across. I wonder if a lot of you struggle with that. So it's like you just kind of fade away, you don't really make yourself known. I see it just in general being very hard for you to socialize. So because of that, if you haven't really socialized much with people, it can be hard to know, well, what kind of romantic partner should I have if I haven't dated much? Which sexuality can tie in with that, right? Or what kind of friend group should I have if the friend groups I've formed throughout my life aren't actually my friends? They're just people who maybe had the upper hand in certain environments, so I decided to be around them. Or if I decided to completely not be around people at all and I just kept to myself so that I didn't have to like get attacked. I think any and all of this could apply to you, by the way, and people can go through different phases of this, where maybe in high school you were kind of like a bully, but then in college you were like, well, I realized how I was then, and now I'm in a different environment now, and I don't want to be the one that gets bullied. There's all these people who are already friends in this new place that I'm in, so I'll just keep to myself. And I think a lot of you, if you do make friends, it just still doesn't feel like they are your friends. Even the people who are good people, right? It feels like when people try to connect with you, you just kind of keep it very surface level. So Spirit is saying during this time, during this autumn 2025, or whenever you are listening to this, it's good to really dissect and to reflect and to question with curiosity and not with shame the reason why you do certain things, why you've made decisions in the past, and why you continue to make certain decisions. Why you have certain goals. Are they for you or are they in relation to your environment, what people have wanted for you to do? There's a sense that a lot of you don't have passion in life. That Four of Cups also being mirrored by that Ace of Wands in reverse. There's a sense that you like when people say, "Oh, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do?" Like whenever I'm at the doctor's office and like, "Well, what activities do you like to do?" It's like, I don't know. I like to watch YouTube, you know? It feels like you also need to engage in more hobbies. You need to find out what you like, because a lot of you don't actually know what you like. Even if it's something like food, it's like, I don't know, I just eat to live. Some of you could relate to that. It's like, okay, how can you make something like eating? You don't have to, it's giving very much like meal prepping the same food every week, bringing food to work, eating the same food at home and like making simple foods like a bologna sandwich, like spaghetti. Spirit is like, how can you expand upon that? How will you know if you try this new food, how do you know if you won't like it or not? So a lot of you have been very close-minded to trying new things as well. So now's the time period of trying new things as you're figuring yourself out because there's so many things you can't just say you don't like something if you've never tried it, if you've never done it. right? That doesn't mean you have to go skydiving. Like, people talk about, like, well, that means, you've never tried it. How do you know? Like, something safer, right? Like, going to a new restaurant. Let's say you've never had Thai food and you go to a Thai restaurant. You're like, well, I don't really care about noodles that much. But then you go to this restaurant and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I liked this so much. There's so much you haven't explored. And again, this could be because of your environment. Something like a Thai restaurant. Maybe you live in a place still where, or in your hometown where there wasn't access to that, or like vegan food, right? So Spirit is saying to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and try new things. They want for you to do things like, even if you have to travel 40-45 minutes to a place that has, like, the only place nearby 45 minutes away that has vegan food or Thai food, right? Spirit wants you to do things like that and to not be stuck or stagnant, because you won't know unless you don't try. There's a lot of lack of effort and lack of trying in this stack that I see throughout your life, and it's just that Page of Pentacles doing. Spirit wants you to do new things. They want for you to incorporate new aspects into your life, new hobbies, spend more time with friends. They want for you to really nurture yourself, because the way this is being read is that you don't really care about yourself. You're just living every day. You're not actually looking after yourself, caring for yourself. This also includes any self-care rituals or activities. And with the Hangman in reverse, it makes me, oh wait, upright, sorry. It makes me think that some of you also maybe have like body dysmorphia or body image issues. I just think with the Hangman, you have a lot of expectations you put on yourself, and so it's hard to get close to people. You're like, people are going to judge me, people don't like me, I don't fit these standards, I don't fit these expectations. But a lot of those come from you. Maybe in the past they've come from other people, and people will always have something to say about anybody, right? But you have to focus on how you view yourself. I don't think a lot of you like viewing yourself. You don't look at yourself in the mirror. Spirit is saying you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. And any parts of yourself that you've suppressed that you realize you don't like, if you would like to change certain aspects of your personality, even your appearance, if you want to change anything that you have the control and the power to change, you can do that. But do that with grace and dignity. And respect for yourself. Don't do that with self-hatred or with pity. Do it from a place of learning and acceptance and growing, okay? Because nobody knows everything also at any point in time. I think some of you are afraid to learn about yourself because it's of many reasons, but also just learn about things in general, because it's like, you know how people say the more you know, the less you know? I used to hate that saying because it made me feel dumb. It's like, well, I feel like I know quite a bit, so I guess I don't know much, and now I am, like, dumb. It's like, no, you're not dumb, girl. Like, I want to shake myself. No, you're not dumb. It's like, the more you know, then hopefully you have more an ability to adapt to any changes. You have more of an ability to know yourself, know what you like, know what you don't like, especially as well. And you're able to go from there, like, take it step by step. But it feels like there's no steps taken. Not even backward, not forward, it's just you're just staying there. You're like a rock, staying there, okay? But we want to be more like a tumbleweed, flowing with the wind, rolling about, right? Spirit wants you to go with the flow more. They want for you to go with the flow while still tapping into yourself and realizing who you are. Because seriously, it feels like there's such a gray fog around you, and that you are like in a desert, and it feels like there's nobody around. The sky looks the same, even the clouds aren't moving. But we don't want that. There's forward progress that is to be had here that I see being very great for you. And this momentum shift will allow for all other areas of your life to have momentum, such as if you are single, then you'll be able to find a partner. Or if you are in a relationship, maybe you'll realize this person isn't meant for you, some of you. And you'll be like, I just thought I should find somebody and get married young and have kids. Like, no, you don't have to do that. Don't think about what other people expect you to do. Ooh, like, I was really getting visuals, and I was really in that flow state there when I was channeling those messages, like, definitely more than any of the other piles. Like, I was in it, and I just feel I feel like your guides are, like, talking through me because they just wanna wake you up. I feel like, yeah, they wanna, I said earlier, like, I just want to shake myself, younger me. It's like, I just wanna shake you up. I just wanna be like, "Hey, don't be in this dream state. Don't be in this state of being where you're not allowing yourself to change." And I think a lot of you, there are parts of yourself that you don't like. And so Spirit is saying you do need to accept those parts of yourself that you don't like. And I was gonna say the things you can't change. If you can't change them, then you have to learn to accept. Don't think you're a bad person just because you have, like, for me, people comment on, like, my acne. It's like, I'm at a point now, I'm so glad I'm healed in this way, where it's like, if somebody comments on my acne, I'm like, "You think I literally care?" Like, I don't, especially if I don't even know who you are, it's like, no, and if I do know who you are and you're gonna be mean about, then you're not somebody I want around me. Like, you're still able to this is an important message, you are still able to protect your peace, you're still able to be in safe environments and have safe friendships and relationships and, work dynamic, coworker dynamics, right? Coworker relationships, what was I was trying to say? You're still able to have all these things while putting yourself out there and being vulnerable, and if people show their true colors excuse me, if people show their true colors in a way that's negative toward you in any way, you have the power to take a step back. So Spirit is saying, don't be afraid to take that risk. A lot of you need to incorporate a lot more risk. Okay. And that isn't the dangerous activities. It's about first finding out who you are, but then like taking risks by promoting yourself or like just putting yourself out there, like asking people if they want to go on dates, for example, or asking people if they want to hang out. But in order to get to a place of doing more of that and feeling more comfortable with other people, you need to start feeling more comfortable with yourself. That Four of Cups energy, I don't like it. It's saying that there's an Page of Pentacles. By the way, Spirit is saying one step at a time. It can be a lot. It can be very overwhelming. So ground yourself during this process. Do not overwhelm yourself by trying to do too many things or shaming yourself into changing so many different parts of yourself. Spirit is not saying that. Spirit is saying take your time. This is your life. And we're just glad that you're hopefully realizing the things that need changing. Anything that's been stagnant or stuck or unrealized. But that Four of Cups energy is telling me you are all being like kind of lazy or you're not doing enough for your life. You're not passionate about things. So Spirit is saying with this spiritual growth, the more you tap into yourself and you reflect, you journal, even talking to a therapist could help, right? The more you externalize your internal emotions and feelings and thoughts. Like, even talking out loud to yourself could be very important for a lot of you that will feel very uncomfortable, but I see that something like that being very important, very necessary to get you to say it out loud. Because for some of you, just even writing it down won't be enough. You need to say these things out loud, looking at yourself in the mirror, just out loud in general, to dissect the areas in your life that you've been stuck, the areas of your life that you've shamed within yourself. Because Spirit wants you to release that shame. We have the Hangman there. Anything that you've been afraid to look at as it relates to yourself, your being, Spirit wants for you to really go inward and to reflect. Say out loud everything you're thinking. And a lot of realizations and epiphanies will come about in that process, I'm telling you. But you are still figuring yourself out. So if it is something like sexuality, and maybe you're in your 20s, 30s, right? And you're like, I can't believe, like for me, I didn't realize I was non-binary or bisexual or demisexual until my mid-20s around there, right? So it's like, there's always time to learn about yourself is what Spirit's saying. There's always time to grow. There's no time limit. There is no bad timing to know more about yourself, to figure out new things. To try new things, even if it's very different from something you said in the past, like, oh, I would never try that, or oh, I would never do that. You are allowed to change your mind. Spirit is saying you don't have to be so rigid and strict with yourself. You need to be more open minded during this time and during this process. If you allow that, there will be a lot of healing there. There will be a lot of new opportunities to connect with people you never thought you would, but most importantly, you'll connect with yourself more than you ever thought you would, and you'll have a lot more self-love and self-respect than you ever thought you would. Okay? Ooh, okay. I will go into the guidebooks, but that felt very powerful. It feels like I just want to like cry. A lot of you need to cry right now too. If you've been afraid to cry, Spirit is saying to let it out. Hanged man, let that all out. Page of Pentacles, you are safe right now. You are safe. Like by yourself, feel safe. Get to a place where you can feel safe being alone and having these thoughts. You're not a bad person. Anything you don't like about yourself that you feel like is bad, like makes you a bad person, you have the power to change, and that's the first step. But Spirit is saying don't just stop there at thinking about what it is you can change and to be a better person. You have the ability. Any parts of you that aren't part of you now that exist in the past, any mistakes you've made, Spirit is saying to let those go. Those don't define you. You are okay. You will get through life, but hopefully not just get through it. You will conquer it and you will have fun. You need to brighten up this energy. It just feels so, and I feel like this will be a very long process for a lot of you to realize and figure out certain things, but Spirit is saying that it's your life, so it is therefore worth it. It is so worth it. Okay, I'll go into the guidebook now. My cat is laying on top of the spiritual growth card, by the way. He just came back in here. 50, 12th house, introspection. 50 could be an important number for you, by the way. If your chart were a village map, the 12th house would be a quiet place. The sun is in the 12th house just after sunrise, a time for prayer, meditation, for dreaming our deepest dreams. The 12th house is your inner child's world, containing both the fairyland into which you might escape and the monsters that live under your bed. That's the thing. 12th house is about escapism as well, and I think a lot of you have escaped to this realm of not being fully who you are. And also I want to say, during this time you could get messages from spirit in your dreams. Also, it is a good time for if you don't know the steps to take or where you need to enact change. Meditation could be very important for you right now. For those of you who like to pray, praying for you right now could be very important. Action, introspect. This situation is complex, so learn what's going on behind the scenes before you act. Look for private motives, hidden enemies, and surprise angels. Take time alone to develop an idea or listen within. The 12th house speaks of both who you are when no one's looking and the fact that your fate is inextricably linked to every other sentient being. Work with this metaphor. We are all cells in the body of the divine. It's essential that you take care of yourself, your individual cell, and honor who you are. But you must also acknowledge that you work within an organism, i.e., your family and culture, which operates within the body of all creation. Yeah. If you just take care of yourself and disregard the rest, you become a cancer that brings illness to that great body. If you deny your individuality, you can't do what you were born to do. Both realities are clear and true. You do exist independently, and you are part of the collective. It's just a perspective shift. It's impractical to get lost in oneness, whether in spiritual bliss or over-identification with your group, and neglect your individual health. But it can be spiritually painful to feel stuck in the isolated single-cell mindset. Spiritual practice can help you find a healthy midpoint between a disconnected, lonely state and a state of connection. Connection to one another, to a cause, or to the divine, but also to yourself, okay? Grounding helps you return to your personal path. Challenges. It can be hard to find a healthy a healthy place between feeling subsumed by a group and dwelling in a stunted isolation. The 12th house asks you to face your fears. Gift. In quiet moments of prayer, meditation, and creative bliss, feel that deep connection to the source and know you are not alone. That's the thing too. Like on this journey of self-realization, you're not alone. Spirit wants to be there to help you. I mean, we do have spiritual growth here, and so Spirit wants you to know, like, we're here with you every step of the way. You're not alone in this, and we want the best for you, and it's okay if you realize things need to majorly change and you're different from who you were before. We all change and are different as we grow and evolve. That's good. Spiritual growth. This card signifies that the change you're currently in the midst of or contemplating is part of your spiritual growth. It will bring about great blessings even if challenges present themselves along the way. As this experience comes to a conclusion, you'll know that you are very strong indeed. In fact, this situation will push you to leave behind your comfort zone. You'll reach deep inside to a reservoir of strength that you didn't know you had. This strength is both peaceful and powerful. Yes, and it helps you learn new life lessons as well as let go of old pain and forgive your past. Additional meanings: spiritual seeking, a change of religion or new spiritual path, being true to yourself, a legal issue, a health challenge. Also, 90, 9. 9 is about like fulfillment, so I think a lot of karma could be involved in life lessons right now, so you'll be able to release a lot of karma as you're going through these stages of figuring out who you are and what you want to do with your life, and hopefully feeling fulfilled, at least by the end of everything. What I'm going to do now is let me just put aside these cards. I want for you to think of a question. It could be related to anything we've talked about here for your stack, or it could be something completely random and different. But look at this card and think of a question. It could be a different question than maybe you would have originally thought because, based on the answer here. This could be a yes or no question. It could be another question entirely. It's completely fine either way. But I'll give you some time to think with the question now. And here is the answer for that question. It may resonate for some of you, maybe not for all of you, because of course this is a group reading, not an individual reading. I now want for you to look here at this card, and I want for you to think of another question. I will give you some time to think about that question as you look at this card, starting right now. Here is the answer for that question. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 4D, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you resonate with this stack, you can comment down below saying that you resonate with the stack, and you can provide any updates in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for Soul. You can like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, it helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my channel, and you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR, that will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 4D, and take care.